Hi, this is Carol Scholp, and I'm here with the Happy Hippie Jesus Show with Jeremy and Bill.
Oh, you did that perfect. That was awesome. Well, Carol's here with me in my home studio, so I get to hang out with her while you have to hang out in Newport.
Don't say that like hanging out in Newport's a bad thing. It's a cool place. You're just jealous.
Is he in Newport, California?
No, Newport, Arkansas.
You should be jealous of us.
Oh, goodness. Oh, well, it's great to have you with us, Carol. Now, I have a serious question for you, and don't let your proximity to Bill throw you off. See, he thinks Jesus is a hippie, and I think Jesus is a first-century Jewish guy that wouldn't know what a hippie was. What do you think?
Oh, I definitely think Jesus was a hippie. I'm a California girl. Mm-hmm.
Score! I'm glad you mentioned you're a California girl because you obviously are not an Arkansan by your accent. I was going to guess Louisiana.
Well, I have lived in 9 different states, so it's kind of a blend of everything. And I did live in Louisiana for a while, so I can do a New Orleans accent.
You are part of a group called the Giving Circle here in Hot Springs. Can you tell us a little bit about what the Giving Circle is?
Yeah, the Giving Circle is an incredible group of individuals that I feel so honored to have been asked to join. It is a group of philanthropic people who put their own money together and offer grants to local charities, 501c3s, within Garland County. We do a little bit for Montgomery County, but it's primarily Garland County. And right now there are 11 voting members, 14 in total because we have 3 couples. And if you don't put your own money in, you don't get another vote. So we have 11 votes. And the group consists of not quite half and half. We have probably 5 male members to 6 female members. But all of these people, what we have done over the course of the last 10 years, is we've given over $650,000 within Garland County. The people that we've given to are like the Math and Science School. They have come to us on a couple of occasions. We helped them with their dormitory when they built it. And right now we are working, we will put together a classroom for them in the new facility. They come to us. We don't give huge grants. We don't have the kind of money to give $1 million grants or that. Our grants generally run anywhere between $1,000 and $15,000. But we are happy to help anybody that comes to us. The application is a single page. You only have to provide us your 501c3 certificate, your bylaws, and your financials. We do ask for a list of your board of directors as well, if we can have that. It's a very simple process. You come to us, you put your request in, and then our chair looks at it and sends it out if he thinks it meets our criteria. And one of the things everyone needs to know is that we do not do line item expenses. So we would not be paying somebody's salary or something like that. We do projects, individual projects. And so those projects consist of just about anything. We did 2 for Mid-America Science Museum that I'm aware of since I've been with the group. One of them had to do with robotics that were taught in the schools. They say that was an extremely successful endeavor on our part. I have not been to the school to see what the teachers learned and how they imparted the knowledge to the children. But anything to do with STEM training is very big on the part of our governor. And so we support that as much as we can. Now, we've done many projects for art organizations. We have done Emergent Arts when it first started, and that is on Whittington. Many people were very skeptical about her building, and we went in, and many of our people were very skeptical about it, I might add. And what happened is she showed us where she started and what she was dealing with now, and they could not get over the work that she and her family had accomplished. So we gave her money for heating and air, and that heating and air allowed her to keep that building open winter and summer, and what she does is she gives art classes to children. They have an art camp. They also have adult classes. She has grown that from a matter of a few classes into a full schedule of classes morning and evening. We're very proud of the accomplishments that we've made. We gave to the Documentary Film Festival. I was on the board when the Documentary Film Festival was in failure mode. After that, we changed the people. We were able to bring that back, and now it's incredible. We are part of the Academy Award selections. It's a 10-day festival. The people that come from all over the world, and it's just an incredible endeavor. So when you see that kind of success for our area, we're a small town. We're 35,000 people, but we are a national park, so we do have some cred in the situation, some street cred, as they say. And one of the things that we've noticed is that right now we have a request, or we did have a request, from the music festival, and we worked with them this summer. They have been here for 20 years, as the documentary film festival has been here. I think we're going on 27 or 28 years. But the music festival has been here for at least 20. They occasionally need help. Their main sponsor moved away, and they lost a large grant from that. So we have been able to help them purchase things that they need to maintain their music and things like that. We've done the Garvin Woodland Gardens. At the gardens, we helped with the Bob and Sonny Evans Treehouse. We gave to that. There's so many projects that we've been involved with, and so many people come to us for the Ouachita Children's Center, which is now being renamed. I'm not quite sure the new name. A couple of years ago, their refrigerators and freezers went out on Christmas Eve, and they lost all their food. So members of the Giving Circle individually called and offered to buy them freezers and refrigerators. They asked us to please wait, and they would take care of things temporarily. And then they came to us, and we were able to give them a good-sized donation for them to buy really, really nice, I guess you'd call them commercial freezers and refrigerators. And they had enough left over with what we gave them to buy an ice machine. We try to do as much as we can. Just last week in the newspaper, there was a front-page article on CCMC, and that's the Christian Medical Center here in Hot Springs. And their heat went out. They lost two of they're not furnaces, it's the whole system. I don't know what you call it.
HVAC systems.
Oh, yeah, HVAC. Thank you. HVAC system. Mm-hmm. They lost two of them. So they came to us. We had just given them a grant this past summer, and we don't do that. We, as a rule, if you come to us, you have to wait a reasonable amount of time to come to us again to put another dip in the well. But this was an emergency. They had no heat in two of their areas, and they desperately needed to fix that immediately. They called us and asked us if we would meet, and we did, and we were happy to help them with a matching grant to get the two new furnaces, HVAC systems, put in. You have no idea of the impact and the gratitude from the people that we help. And for us, it's such a gift to us. It's not a gift to them. It's a gift to each one of us. We have the most marvelous people in our giving circle. We are just from all different walks of life. We're from all different means. We're from lots of different places. And we do so well. We operate like a well-oiled machine. When we get together, we put the proposal forward. People look at it. They ask questions. And then they say whether they vote yay or nay. And it is always by majority. We never, ever have any kind of rancor or differences. It is the most wonderful group of people I have ever had the good fortune to work with.
I guess for anyone that doesn't know, since Bill's world famous, Garland County is in southwestern Arkansas, and Hot Springs National Park is the town that they're referring to. There you go. Now you can geographically locate world famous Bill from wherever you are. So you talked a little bit about what the Giving Circle does. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your faith and how your faith moves you to pay for art classes for kids or to replace HVAC units and stuff? How does your understanding of faith push you to get involved in those things?
My big push right now, and this will give you some insight, my big push right now is for the homeless. I'll get emotional. Forgive me, I always do. I come from a large family, and I was very, very fortunate to be raised by absolutely loving, caring parents who did everything for us and gave me such inspiration. We didn't have a lot, but what we had was unconditional love, and we were taught responsibility. And as a result, I have carried that forward in my own life. And when I see someone who's hurting or ailing, I just cannot help but step in. So this is how I met Bill. I'm so excited to have met him and to get to know him. We have a group in town that counts the homeless once a year for the government. I saw that wasn't, in my own estimation, that wasn't solving the problem of homelessness. So I got together with Bill and several other ministers in town and some of the churches and said, let's start an offshoot group that our focus is ending homelessness. Now, that's a really high mark, and I recognize that. But one of the worst things about the situation is we have no homeless shelter for families. So my faith has led me strictly to this cause. Right now, that is my cause célèbre. I'm working with Bill and the other people in the churches. We are opening tonight 2 homeless shelters for 3 nights because it's so cold. And what I have done is I have worked with Jackson House, and they feed our homeless Monday through Saturday for lunch. And I am working with Janie Smith at Jackson House. And what I did is I gave her a sizable donation for her to purchase Mylar blankets, tarps, anything that she needed, whether it was bus passes, gift cards for Walmart or Kroger so that they could get a hot meal. Whatever she thought it could be used for that would help the situation. So that's my big thing, and that's how I got to know my buddy Bill.
Well, that's the Jackson House is kind of like an outreach to our homeless community here in Hot Springs. They provide everything from medical services to social work. It's a wonderful, wonderful ministry that they have. Now, you mentioned something a minute ago. You were talking about your work with the Mid-America Museum.
Yes.
Yes. And you said the Giving Circle gave money for their robotics program.
Yes.
Now, while I think that's all good and wonderful, do you realize that in 100 years, when the robot uprising happens, you're partially responsible for robot overlords taking over?
I have to laugh at that because, of course, AI is way past anything I understand. And all those science fiction movies are way out of my realm. I guess if you go back even into what was the 70s or so when they had the Bionic Man or whatever.
Steve Austin.
So we are moving in that direction. There's no question. In fact, I was listening to a program on my way in where they were talking about a factory that's being built in Detroit, car manufacturing, and that it's going to be mostly robotics, but the people will be doing the engineering.
That's all statistic, honestly, the other day, that 3 million people are going to lose their jobs to artificial intelligence, and that's going to lead right back to homelessness, just like we were talking about a minute ago. But let's backtrack and be serious for a minute. How did you get involved with the Giving Circle? I know you're not from Hot Springs originally.
This is funny because when I was on the board for the documentary film festival, I spoke with Dorothy Morris and a fellow that had been on the board before. And they both cautioned me, and I ignored it. And so Dorothy, after that experience, I went to her and I said, I really think you need to be involved again, Dorothy, in the documentary film festival. They've got some really good people in there running it, and I think that's important. And so she got to know me, and she invited me to join the Giving Circle. And I can't tell you how grateful I am, because I'm not kidding you when I say it is the finest group I've ever been involved with. And I have to tell you that I no longer say I'll serve on any boards because I'm very difficult. When I say that I'm putting myself, not anybody else, it's me. I hold their feet to the fire. All the rules must be observed. And I'm not saying people don't observe the rules. I'm just saying that I'm a stickler. And so it's easier for me to be in a group like the Giving Circle where it's only us making the rules and we're the only ones deciding on the rules. So it's our money and we get to choose to do with it as we please, and that just works fine.
Do you have any stories of any groups or people that the Giving Circle has helped that maybe that has affected their faith as well?
Oh my goodness, tons of them. Dorothy Morris, she is our local true philanthropist. She and Don Monroe started this group. And Dorothy single-handedly helped build Point Cedar Food Bank. She put that together for our church. And it's just incredible what she has been able to accomplish. And through her, she sets the pace for most of us. You know, if it weren't for Dorothy, none of us would belong to this. So she and Don get all the credit for this. You should see what they've done with that facility. How could you not be affected by it? It's just amazing. And that pastor and his wife, I met them at a book signing that Dorothy put together for Denise Parkinson. Denise Parkinson is a local writer. I met them there. I was just overwhelmed by them. They're so gracious and so giving. There's no question that my faith and the members of our group, you know, we say the Giving Circle, but in point of fact, we're the Getting Circle, because by giving, you get so much more back. I don't care what anybody tells you. You know, they say cast your bread on the waters and you'll returns tenfold. It's probably 100-fold. I can't tell you how marvelous it is to be involved, being able to help people in whatever small manner we can. A good example of a small manner, and this was just a few of us, not the whole giving circle, although they're all members. One of our friends came to us, one of our people came to us and asked for a very small grant. It was my direction. I probably should have let her go to the giving circle, but it was so small. And I said, you know what? You belong to groups where you need more money. I will ask a couple of our members if they will front that for you. And it was, all I had to do was ask. And everybody said, oh, how much do you need the check for? So rather than, come to us with small amounts, not that we do want people to come with us with smaller amounts, because we think that that's what the problem is right now when we're not getting enough requests. It's because people think they have to have a big request. Whereas if we can help you with $1,000, we'll be happy to help you with $1,000. But when it gets much under that, probably we're all going to write individual checks.
Sorry. Bill's tattoo keeps distracting me. He's like waving around his new little cross, and I'm like, I can't focus. He's killing me. You've done all these kind of beautiful, wonderful things. Just what's been your favorite project?
Oh, my. Really? Oh, goodness gracious.
I'll take a top 2 or a top 3.
Well, anything that helps the homeless or children. Those are my causes. Being able to replace the refrigerators and freezers for Washita Children's Center, because they take in all of these children that are removed from their homes, and they just need all the love and care that they can get. And then the CCMC, because they do medical care for people who have absolutely no access to medical care. They also do a wonderful program that when Obamacare ACA Act came in, it cut down on their medical needs. So as a result, they started a program that's called Bridges Out of Poverty. And from that, they have Bridges Out of Detention or something. I don't want to give the wrong names, but they work with the detention center to see that anybody that's going to be released shortly gets the kind of attention they need to survive well outside. I am planning on talking with our sheriff. I have not had a chance to approach him personally, but I want to see us teach these people trades, whether that's becoming a chef or a welder or a plumber or a mechanic. But we have so many options in this town because ACTI teaches people, and our college has courses in that. And we need to prepare these people to come out and know that they're going to be okay, that they can care for themselves. We can't just dump them out on the street and think that that's going to make them okay. Now, the CCMC, they are just starting a program in one of our local grammar schools where they will teach 6th graders how to budget and plan and finance. Now, we need that in all of our schools because guess what? If we don't teach civics, which is how to vote and that about your government, and we don't teach them how survival skills, how to manage their budget and how to pay for rent and that, we're doing a terrible disservice. I consider it child abuse when you don't give a child those simple factors. I mean, in order for them to survive, you have to give them a way to survive. So those tools are available now. So if I were picking projects, I'd pick those. Now, that doesn't mean I don't love the arts, because I do. Oh. I was a volunteer at Garvin Gardens for 20 years. All of those things are near and dear to my heart. But when it comes to helping the homeless people, so we only had one shelter, St. Luke's, that opened before. And now we have 2 that are open for 3 days. And Bill, I know, is working on your church or his church doing it as well. So to me, if I can provide, I bought Mylar blankets for them. We're doing tarps. We're going to do a bike drive because that's how they get around. They get around by bike. And we have bus passes. And so I want to see that we do something particularly this is a lead-in for me. Those are the visible homeless. The ones that are not visible are our children. And here in Hot Springs, the last number I heard was 443 children. But they tell me that is half to a third of the number of homeless children. Now, when you are talking about growth and potential, if we are throwing away all these children, if they have no security and a roof over their head, food in their stomach, and a place to study, what are we doing? I mean, how do we think that we're succeeding? It's a failed system. We have to do something better. And so my impetus, even though I'm working through and with the homeless, is to have an opportunity to speak at every church here in town, at every Rotary or Elks or any other organization, and talk to them about the children. because we need a homeless shelter for families. That way those children know where they're going to go after school. They know they have a roof over their head. They know somebody's going to feed them. And I want them to know that there's unconditional love out there for them. They need to be secure. If I had only one thing to say about my upbringing, it's that never once in my entire childhood did I ever think I wasn't loved and cared for. And if I can give that to a single child, I'll think I've succeeded in life.
As you were telling your story, there's a passage from Paul that comes to my mind about how we're many parts of one body, and we all have a role to play within that body to make it function. And we all need to do our part, and we all need to contribute, and everyone's role is important as everyone else's, because we couldn't function without any parts of the body. So I'm curious, what kind of role do you see as yours to do in this cause? And, what part might be like Bill's or the church's universal? But
yours is to tell us what to do, isn't
it? He's laughing, but that's yes. This is how I rounded them all up by calling them on the phone and saying, okay, look. So I think my job is to be the big voice. I will tell you this. Bill knows this already, but you don't. I have very broad shoulders. When I went through some tough times here with some of the organizations, one of my friends called me and said, Carol, do you know what they're saying about you? And I said, no. Why would I care? What anyone thinks of me is none of my business. And that attitude provides me with the opportunity to really be a spokesperson without worrying about what anyone says about me or thinks about me. It's much more important that the word get out there and that people actually put themselves out there to help. That's much more important.
So she's saying she's the mouth in the body.
Well, I'd like to think I'm some of the brains, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I've heard several great stories. Earlier in the podcast, you mentioned, you gave a check to this group to use for whatever they wanted or whatever they needed. And I think that's like a perfect example of doing my part of the body. I don't always understand everything they need, but I know someone who does, and I'm going to give them the money and let them do their part.
That's an accurate description and I'm a firm believer that you find the person who does the job best. And that means that I don't have to be the leader. I don't have to be in control. If there's somebody out there that knows what to do, like Bill does, then he gets that job. I have no interest in taking it.
That's the first time ever anybody has said, I know what to do.
She said, if you know.
Oh, there was an if. I missed the if. I was so stunned I missed the if. You've been actually kind of modest here because you've talked about checks you've written or money you've given, but just having gotten to know you in the last few months, you also roll up your sleeves and get to work, too.
Thank you for saying that. It's so funny. I tell the people in the giving circle, they all know this about me. I'm the boots on the ground. I'm the person that actually goes out and works. I go down to the creek. If I find somebody homeless, I find out what they need. And it's really funny. The way I got into this was last year when it got really cold. I said, I need to help those homeless people. So I think I'll go buy hats and sleeping bags. And then I went, wait a minute, you didn't ask them what they need. So I went down to the creek and I asked a couple of the fellas, what is it that you need? And they said, coffee. So I drove around the street to the McDonald's and I bought them, one of those racks of coffee that they put all the cups in. And I bought them each a gift card. And I took that down and I handed that out to them. And I said, now, here's your coffee, but you can go get yourself a meal or whatever. That's how I got started in this because it dawned on me that I am a firm believer in you don't know what that person needs. They know what they need. And so always ask them first. Don't assume or presume that you have the answer to their needs.
I'm going to jump into one of our meetings right now because you just sparked something. Wouldn't it be amazing if we could partner with, say, the Collective or McDonald's or one of these places and provide coffee every morning at these camps? That would be totally amazing. Of course, we also would need to partner with a sugar mogul.
Well, actually, it's interesting you say that because one of the things I'm working on, I am very interested in our getting a van or a truck or a bus that will have portable laundry and showers because not everybody comes to the church for their showers. And also talking to some of my friends that have the food wagons. There's absolutely no reason why a food wagon couldn't go around and deliver the food to these people. And, those are things that, again, we can't ask them to donate all of that, but we can give them money so they can do that. And to me, that's the critical factor. The critical factor is asking, what is the need and how do we fill it? It's funny that you say that because I thought to myself, oh my goodness, I wonder if they have enough food for the next 3 days. I need to be on the phone calling all the restaurants and asking if they're willing to, because, well, they're very good. Many of the restaurants donate to Jackson House every day. But what we need to do a better job of is, in my opinion, is going to the food stores and saying, don't throw that out. We can use that. And in many communities, I know places in Florida and California, and I think even in Houston, Texas, I live there too, they're forming these groups where somebody goes and picks up the food and takes it because, we're so wasteful. We think if something has a bruise in it, you can't use it. And of course you can. That's another one of my sidelines. I'm sorry, I have to laugh. One of my sidelines. I belong to a group here that was called Growing Healthy Communities. And my job in that Growing Healthy Communities was to teach families how to prepare a healthy meal for 4 people for $10 or under. I guess what I'm saying is I'm very much a multitasker, but it all comes down to the central thing of feeding and clothing and housing people.
I saw an article or a video a few weeks ago, someone that has like a mobile shower ministry, and they kind of set up and they have like a little like block party and cookout and shower, and it's turned into a really great thing for the homeless community in his area. So if I can find it again, we'll put it in the show notes.
Oh, would you?
Yeah.
I'd be interested in that too, because we need to be able to go to them. This is why it's so fabulous that we now have a warming shelter that's like 5 miles from the original one up here. The one that at St. Luke's is real close to the creek and where a lot of the people hang out. But the other one is probably 5 miles south down by the mall. And so it makes such a difference that they can get to either one. And I asked Janie at Jackson House to please provide bus passes if they needed them to get down there.
And I think that fits well into our faith as well, meeting people where they are and going to them. Bill's going to tell you all about how that ties into early Methodism.
Well, that's what John Wesley did. John Wesley went to the factories. John Wesley went to the fields. We hear that he was a field preacher. What that meant was he went to where the people were at. He didn't go out into the middle of a cornfield, although that would have been pretty funny to see him preaching to corn.
I love it. I love it. And I think that's how everybody starts. We just lose touch with it. We lose touch with, I'm sure that the congregations here in Hot Springs are totally unaware that there are so many needy children. If they knew that there was that need, they would come forward and help to fill it. I went to hear a woman who's named Kathy Izzard at the Clinton School here in Little Rock. And Kathy is from Charlotte, North Carolina, and she wrote the book, The 100th Story House or Home. They named the building after Denver Moore, and Denver Moore was a homeless man from Fort Worth, Texas. And it's amazing how a little seed like that. She was a helper at the shelter, the day shelter, and she helped to feed, and her kids helped serve and that. She did it for 10 years, and she invited Mr. Moore and the gentleman, the art dealer from Fort Worth that adopted him, to come to Charlotte and see what they were doing. And he went through the facility with her, and she thought he should be very impressed, and he didn't seem to be. And so at the end of the tour, he said, well, when do we go upstairs? And she said, well, why would we go upstairs? And he goes, well, that's where all the beds are. And she said, no, we don't have any beds. And he said, do you seriously think you're helping the homeless when you open at 8 o'clock in the morning and close at 4:30 in the afternoon? And that, I'll get emotional. That's so hit home. We need to provide some form of housing first. We can't say to them, get a job, do this, clean up, and then we'll give you a house. We need to do the opposite. We need to find them housing so they have some sense of stability. We need to help them clean up, get a job, give them an identity, write a resume for them or whatever. Give them a place where they can at least have their mail delivered. They don't even have that. There's so many opportunities to help, and there are a lot of people that are doing this. It's not like I'm out here alone, believe me. I mean, I've got Bill and several other ministers, people from different charitable groups like the CCMC and the Washita Youth Area Council. There's just people from all places that are helping us. And so it's important to acknowledge all of them. And just to once we make people aware, I truly believe, if you build it, they will come. We have to show them there is a need and say to them, do you seriously want to lose this whole generation of children? I don't know how many people are aware. The Imagination Library, that's a charitable group formed by Dolly Parton. And her group sends a book. You register the child, and they send a book from the day they are born to reach 5 years of age. They get a book a month, every month, with their name on it. It is sent to them. Then, of course, the parents read to them, and in many cases, the parents learn to read by reading to their children. They do this so that they don't lose the generation coming up. Now, the interesting thing about it is I noticed that the last time I saw them, the books were in both English and Spanish, which I so celebrate because it means that they can learn another language at the same time. And when do you learn? When you're really young. So don't teach them Spanish when they're in senior high. So I thought that was really good. But beyond that, we have a hospital here in town who's an OBGYN in the maternity has offered to sponsor every child born in that hospital. Now, that is a major, major undertaking and a fabulous, I give him all the credit in the world. We gave a large donation to Imagination Library just a month or two ago. And they were able to do 600 children in Garland County. Well, those 600 children probably will have a head start when they get to kindergarten. Now, this all leads to what I was going to tell you earlier. There are prisons in places like Indiana that know how many cells to build for the future by the time a child is in the 4th grade. Because if they can't read and write in 3rd grade, they're going to be lost in the system. Now tell me that the wealthiest country in the world can't do better than that. I mean, that is, we talk about sins. Those are the sins I want to correct.
I'm flummoxed by that. You're absolutely right. We can do better. And I read the Sermon on the Mount, and I hear Jesus saying, you can do better. And that's what we're called to do, is to do better. Jeremy and I have to do better in promoting the contest we're doing right now. We've got 1 week left. In this contest, people just have to rate our show on iTunes and send in the rating through email, and they can win a prize. You see the T-shirt I'm wearing today? Isn't this a nice T-shirt?
I love it.
Wouldn't you just love to have this T-shirt? You could win that. You get your choice of a T-shirt that's got Jeremy, the white butterfly. That's Jeremy's nickname. He is the white butterfly. Or Bill, the Happy Hippie Jesus Elf. Or the Happy Hippie Jesus himself. You can get a T-shirt or coffee mugs. And these are quality items. Can you testify? This is a quality item, isn't it?
It is indeed.
It is. I've washed it multiple times, and it still looks good.
I love it. I love it. And I hope you'll put that out there. How are people just supposed to find you? There must be a website or something.
We have a website, and we're also on iTunes. We're on Google Play. We're on Spotify. If there is a way to listen to somebody online, we're there.
Now, do you have a Facebook thing that people can go and like it?
Yes, we have a Facebook page too. We have everything. So that allowed us to reach my entire family and Jeremy's dad.
Well, I'm laughing because I went to a Facebook thing, and if you attach yourself, hundreds of thousands of people will find you, millions of people. So you need to have your Facebook attached to all of our local 501c3s here in Garland County.
There you go, Jeremy. Why didn't you think of that?
I'm not the brains behind this operation.
Well, if I am, we're in trouble.
All right, we have some clearly defined roles. I'm face. You're everything else.
Now, wait a minute. That's not a part of the body. Wait a minute. What's your part of the body?
My part of the body? I'm the hands because I do all the work on the show. I edit. I do.
Jeremy, do you want to speak up for yourself?
No, Bill's telling the truth. He does all the work. And I love how you translated, and you suddenly became the host, giving Bill a chance to promote himself on his own show. That was brilliant.
I told you, she is the mouth of the body. We could rename her Carol, the Mouth of the South.
There you go.
But she's not from the South. She's from California.
But she's in the South now.
That's that. And trust me, my Southern friends never forget that I'm a Yankee. That's what I said. I have broad shoulders. I can handle it.
So, Carol, if people want to find out more about the Giving Circle, how can they do that? And keep in mind, you don't have to spell anything out because we'll put it in the show notes.
Okay, that's perfect.
That's something else I do, by the way, that Jeremy doesn't.
Oh. Jeremy, you're going to have to up your game here.
That's not true at all. Bill is happy. to be the hands.
Well, some people, they have to have their control, so let them do it.
Exactly.
The Giving Circle, we haven't established one yet, but we are preparing some press releases.
So you don't have a Facebook page?
We are working on it.
Working on it, okay.
I created a Facebook page, but the person that's doing the press releases, she's working on a much better job than I could have done because I'm not a techie.
Right.
So, yes, we will have one shortly.
Well, as your nerd friend, I could help set y'all up with an email address or something so that you can give out something that you're comfortable putting out into the wide, wide world.
Oh, we would be so grateful.
Yes.
I believe Bill just volunteered to become the hands of your organization as well.
And did you notice I accepted immediately?
Bill likes to be the hands.
That's just how the world works.
Listen, a good pair of hands, I mean, come on here. Really, how are you going to beat that?
Exactly.
Hands. Well, Carol, it's been awesome talking with you, and thank you for sharing with us today.
Yeah, thank you, Carol.
Well, thank you, Jeremy. I'm sorry I didn't have a chance to actually meet you, but thank you so much for including me and inviting me. This is a real honor. I'm very grateful.
Yeah, we really enjoyed it.